Hey, we've got a special guest, and it's Pat Badger, longtime member of the group Extreme and now of the Dark Desert Eagles. Good morning and welcome, Pat.
Good morning. How are you, Bruce?
Well, I'm doing great, and you are as well. And not only are you here to join us, but you're a native now. If you look it up anywhere online, they're going to tell you Pat Badger's from Boston. He's not from Boston. Pat, where did you actually grow up?
Well, I actually I am from the Boston area. I grew up in little town called Winchester, which is north of Boston. I'm sure you guys all know of it. Not too far outside of Boston.
You and I are about the same age, so we grew up on the same kind of music. And when you were getting into the years when music would affect you, you were really falling in love with groups like, I'm going to guess, fellow Bostonians Aerosmith, or maybe you loved Van Halen, or you can hear the sound and how it influenced Extreme. Now, you joined Extreme somewhere in the mid-'80s, am I correct?
Yeah, I actually joined, it was kind of the late 80s. I guess, 87, I think I joined.
Just before things really went big for Extreme, because by the end of the decade, you guys went big with, how do you pronounce it? Do you prefer porno graffiti or pornography?
Usually we say pornograffiti.
I got you.
But I suppose the right way to say it would be pornography.
And that was the album that really broke big because you guys had a couple of massive hits, including a #1. And I'm going to guess when you go from, let's call it relative obscurity, to suddenly the spotlight of being #1 in the country, it must have come in a huge hurry for you. Must have taken a little doing getting used to the sudden newfound fame.
Yeah, we had been playing a lot of the bars and stuff around Boston, and we had put out our first self-titled album. We started touring a little bit, and then really during the album cycle of Pornography is when things, like you said, it was a whirlwind. It just took off, and now we're suddenly on bigger stages, opening for some of our heroes, traveling around the world. We got to do the Freddie Mercury tribute concert in '92, which was like such an amazing day. Honor to be part of that. So, yeah, a lot of doors open, a lot of things changed once that album, kind of hit.
Boy, you want to talk about a huge stage. I mean, the Queen tribute, that was like 80,000 people there, wasn't it?
It was, and also it was, I think at the time it was the largest audience of any live concert event. There was like 1 billion people on TV who saw it. So no pressure there.
Well, I'm sure there was also pressure, at least in your mind and your heart, because I know you're a fan, you always were a fan of the music of Queen, and going on stage to emulate the music of someone that you know and love so much, and knowing you're going to be watched by other big fans of that group, that must be a little nerve-rattling.
It was pretty nerve-rattling, the whole event, to be honest with you. I mean, we, besides the fact that we were playing, we kind of went out on a limb playing the Queen music, but, the crowd was with us from the first note, and
right.
And the other nerve-wracking thing were all these other legends that happened to be in the building, like Robert Plant, Roger Daltrey, David Bowie,
right.
Elton John. I mean, the list went on as far as like all these famous musicians that happened to be there.
Is it true that after the concert, a bunch of you went back to Daltrey's place?
We met him at that show backstage, and then he invited us to his house because he said, "Hey, my kids are fans of you guys," and we're like, "Wow, okay,
wow.
Let's check our calendar. Okay, we'll come over." So it wasn't like the day after, but maybe it was the next time we were in town. But yeah, we spent the day at his house, which was pretty mind blowing too.
Wow, that would be pretty cool. We're speaking today with Pat Badger, longtime member of Extreme, who now is working as of the last year or so with a group called the Dark Desert Eagles, an Eagles tribute. And, Pat, once again, there's a group with such wide-reaching fame and rabid fans that it must be quite a challenge to tackle their sound and do it justice that their fans would enjoy.
Like you were talking about earlier, as far as bands I grew up listening to, the Eagles were definitely one of the tops on the list. I've always been into bands with a lot of melody, harmonies. They had like 5 lead singers in the band,
right.
So it really is a challenge to get the music right and pull off the show. And obviously being in this fun to have turned it into more of a tribute band where we actually try to portray them in
right.
the 70s, as like the peak of their career, the 1977 Hotel California album. We've taken some of the storylines from their documentary and some of the band infighting and all that kind of stuff.
I'll hope that the infighting hasn't pervaded your group too badly because we know how that really tore the heart out of the Eagles and took them away from us for a good dozen or so years before hell finally froze over.
Well, let's just say we just poke fun a bit at it. We're enjoying being in this band together. It's a lot of fun, and it's such an amazing catalog of music. It's
Right.
you open with a hit, you close with a hit, and every song in between is a hit.
The crux of the matter here is the fact that the Dark Desert Eagles are playing tonight. You're in Norwood, Mass. Is that correct?
Yeah, Norwood Theater tonight. It's actually a triple bill that we've billed it as the Icons of Vinyl. So there's an Eric Clapton tribute called Journeyman, and then there's a Tom Petty tribute called the Petty Breakers, and then Dark Desert Eagles. So it's going to be a long night of some amazing music from our youth.
Yeah, great night steeped deeply in the 70s. And I know that this is not some kind of a one-off. You guys, you Dark Desert Eagles, are pretty busy. You got a lot of stuff coming up as we move forward. Am I correct?
We do, yeah. We're actually doing a lot of gigs now, even out of state. We've been traveling around, but locally we have a music festival up in Sandown, New Hampshire, kind of a benefit on July 14th.
All right.
Then August 2nd and 3rd, we're up at Blue Ocean Music Hall in Salisbury. Let's see, we also got Portland, Maine, up at Aura. We've played this room before on August 17th, and then we're up at Laconia at the Whiskey Barrel on August 18th. So all the dates are up at our website, darkdeserteagles.com.
All right, darkdeserteagles.com. And actually, to sidetrack you a little bit, you were around Singapore about the same time that the president and Kim Jong-un were chatting about the future of world security.
When I tell you, we were literally there the same day. Like, our hotel, I looked it up on maps on my iPhone, and we were 4 miles away from where the summit was happening, which was an amazing coincidence that we happened to be there at the same time.
If you were that close, I'm sure somebody with dark glasses and a wire coming out of his ear was keeping an eye on you.
Yeah, people were asking me if it seemed as though security was tighter and stuff, but, I didn't really notice any difference at the airport or whatever, but where they had their meeting was, like, out on this little island.
Okay.
That is a little bit off of, I guess, think Chappaquiddick off of Martha's Vineyard, off of Massachusetts is where they had the.
Yeah, although you know well, as having been a Massachusetts native all your life, the term Chappaquiddick doesn't always bring back positive memories.
No, it doesn't, but it is a beautiful place. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm guessing then that while you were in Singapore, you didn't happen to bump into Dennis Rodman, did you?
I did not. However, I think he's taking credit for saving the world.
Well, he likes doing that. Let him have his fun. It sounds like you're living the life you're really enjoying, and boy, that's all anyone could ask these days. So, I mean, the Dark Desert Eagles are clearly flying strong and high. There are lots of places you're going to be able to see them, but, the prime one that we're talking about now is tonight there in Norwood. A great show to see 3 great 70s sounds, and to know that you're enjoying the talents of one of the original members of Extreme, Pat Badger. We're going to look forward to seeing you in Norwood this evening.
Really appreciate it. We'll look forward to seeing you guys out there, and get your tickets quick because they're almost sold out.
Excellent choice, excellent advice, and thanks for offering it. All right, well, then I better wish you safe travels because you got a lot of it coming up. Glad you took the time to join us this morning, Pat.
Thanks a lot for having me. We'll see you tonight.